The bright morning sun shone over Denver as Commander Ethan Wright stood at the observation deck of Earth Defense Force headquarters. Today was supposed to be historic, humanity's first official meeting with representatives from the Galactic Council. After decades of wondering if we were alone in the universe, the answer had come 3 months ago, in the form of a massive alien ship entering our solar system. Ethan checked his watch. The alien delegation would land in 1 hour at the specially built landing pad in Denver's Central Park. His orders were simple: ensure security for the event and represent the military alongside the diplomatic team. Nervous? Asked a voice behind him. Ethan turned to see Major Lisa Donovan, his second-in-command, holding 2 cups of coffee. She handed him one. Cautious, Ethan replied, taking a sip. Something doesn't feel right about all this. Lisa nodded. They show up without warning, demand an immediate meeting, and refuse to share any information about themselves beforehand. Not exactly the friendly first contact we imagined. The aliens had identified themselves only as the Galactic Council, a coalition of 7 advanced species that governed this sector of the galaxy. Their messages were polite but firm. They wished to discuss Earth's future role in galactic affairs. Security. Teams are in position, Lisa said. The President and Secretary General will arrive 30 minutes before the aliens. Dr. Murphy is already at the site with his team. Ethan smiled slightly at the mention of Dr. Alan Murphy. The scientist had been working non-stop since the aliens made contact, trying to understand their technology from the limited data they had shared. Let's head over, Ethan said. I want one final check of the perimeter. Central Park had been transformed. A large circular platform stood in the center, surrounded by seating for government officials and media. Beyond that, thousands of excited citizens gathered behind barriers hoping to witness history. Dr. Alan Murphy approached Ethan and Lisa as they arrived. His eyes were bright with excitement despite the dark circles under them. Commander Major, he greeted them. Can you believe this is happening? Actual aliens. I've been reviewing the specs of their ship again. The energy readings are off the charts. Their technology must be centuries beyond ours, which is why we need to be careful, Ethan replied. Any luck with those strange signal patterns you detected? Alan's expression changed. Yes, actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. There's been consistent communication between their main ship and 7 smaller vessels that have positioned themselves in orbit. The pattern suggests. He was interrupted by the sound of helicopters. The presidential motorcade had arrived. Tell me later, Ethan said, moving toward his position. The crowd fell silent as a low humming filled the air. Above the park, the clouds parted as a silver disk about 50 meters wide descended slowly. It hovered momentarily before landing, gently on the platform with barely a sound. Ethan stood at attention beside the red carpet. The president and other world leaders waited at the end of it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a seam appeared in the smooth surface of the ship. It widened into a doorway, and light spilled out from within. The first alien emerged. It stood over 7 feet tall, with grayish-blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Its 4 arms moved with fluid grace, and its large head featured 3 dark eyes above a small mouth. It wore an ornate robe with symbols that shifted and changed as it moved. Behind it came 6 other aliens, each one different from the last. Some were almost humanoid, while others were completely foreign in shape and movement. The leader, at least Ethan assumed it was the leader based on its position and more elaborate clothing, approached the human delegation. A small device, on its chest glowed, and a perfect human voice emerged. Greetings, people of Earth. I am High Counselor Zexatarek of the Meldorian Empire, Senior Representative of the Galactic Council. We come to welcome you to the greater galactic community. The President stepped forward. On behalf of Earth, we welcome you and look forward to peaceful cooperation between our worlds. Zexatarek's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. Yes, cooperation. That is precisely what we wish to discuss. Something in the alien's tone made Ethan tense. He glanced at Lisa, who had picked up on it too. The alien continued. The galaxy is an ordered place, governed by rules and hierarchies established over millions of years. New species must find their proper place within this structure. We understand, the president replied. We have much to learn. Indeed. Zexataric raised one of its forearms. Your proper place is that of a protected resource world. Earth holds biological and mineral wealth that the Council values. In exchange for these resources, you will receive limited technological assistance and protection. The president frowned. I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're looking forward to joining the galactic community as equals, not as a resource. All three of Zexataric's eyes narrowed. There is no misunderstanding. This is not a negotiation. This is your notification. The tension in the air became palpable. Ethan's hand moved closer to his sidearm. Perhaps, the Secretary General interjected, we should continue this discussion in private, where we can better understand each other's positions. Zexataric turned its gaze toward the sky. Understanding is not required, only compliance. We have studied your species thoroughly. You are violent, divided, and technologically primitive. You have potential as workers and soldiers due to your physical durability, but you lack the collective wisdom to determine your own fate in the galaxy. Dr. Murphy pushed forward suddenly, ignoring the security trying to hold him back. Commander, he called to Ethan. The signal pattern, it's a targeting grid. A blinding light cut him off as a beam of energy shot down from the sky, striking a neighborhood several miles away. The ground shook, and a mushroom cloud rose over the city. That, said Zexataric calmly as screams erupted from the crowd, was a demonstration, a small one. We have similar weapons targeted on every major city on your planet. Ethan drew his weapon, but Lisa grabbed his arm. Don't, she warned. Look up. Above them, the clouds had cleared to reveal the massive shapes of alien ships positioned over Denver. You have 7 Earth days to prepare your leaders for formal submission, Zexataric continued, seemingly unconcerned by Ethan's reaction. Any resistance will result in the destruction of your population centers one by one. Without waiting for a response, the alien delegation turned and re-entered their ship. It rose silently into the air and accelerated upward, vanishing within seconds. Chaos erupted as the reality of what had happened sank in. Ethan grabbed his radio. I need damage assessment on the strike zone immediately. All available units respond. As emergency vehicles raced past, Ethan found Dr. Murphy helping a woman who had fallen in the panic. Murphy, what were you trying to tell me? The scientist's face was pale. They've been scanning our entire planet, mapping everything. Military, bases, power plants, water supplies. But I found something else when I analyzed their ship during landing. A vulnerability in their shield harmonics, and biological readings that suggest, tell me on the way, Ethan interrupted, pulling him toward a waiting vehicle. We need to get to the bunker and brief what's left of the government. As they drove toward the mountain headquarters, passing crowds of frightened citizens, Ethan looked back at the smoke rising from what had once been a thriving neighborhood. They think we'll just surrender, he said quietly. Dr. Murphy looked up from his tablet. Will we? Ethan's jaw tightened. Not a chance. They just made the biggest mistake in their long history. They should have learned more about us before they attacked. Humans don't take well to bullies, especially not ones from outer space. The Denver massacre, as it would later be known, had claimed 30,000 lives in an instant. But rather than crushing humanity's spirit, it had lit a fire that would soon burn across the stars. 6 months had passed since the Denver massacre. To the alien ships watching from orbit, Earth appeared defeated. News broadcasts showed world leaders discussing surrender terms. Military forces remained in their bases. Humans went about their daily lives with their heads down, seemingly accepting their fate as a new resource world for the Galactic Council. It was all a lie. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't exist on any official map, Colonel Samantha Reyes walked through a massive underground hangar. Around her, hundreds of engineers and scientists worked on what looked like giant satellite dishes. Each dish glowed with a faint blue light at its center. How many are ready? She asked Lieutenant Greg Howard. who walked beside her with a tablet in his hands. 43 completed and tested, he replied. Another 17 will be ready by tomorrow. Production is actually ahead of schedule. Samantha nodded with satisfaction. After the attack, the world had united in a way no one thought possible. Old enemies became allies overnight. Resources poured into secret projects. Operation Thunderstrike was just one of many. And the carriers? She asked. Greg swiped on his tablet. All 26 are fitted with the new shields. The stealth systems are working perfectly. The Council ships haven't detected a single test. Flight. They stopped at a viewing window overlooking a lab where Dr. Alan Murphy was working. Inside, he and his team surrounded what appeared to be the corpse of one of the alien species, a smaller insect-like being that had been part of the Council delegation. Any word from Ambassador Franklin? Samantha asked. She's maintained her cover. The Council believes she's negotiating our surrender. Her last transmission included complete scans of their flagship's interior layout. Samantha smiled grimly. Let's hope she can get out before we light the fuse. Aboard the Galactic Council flagship, Ambassador Kelly Franklin sat across from High Counselor Zexatarek. Two guards stood behind the four-armed alien leader, their weapons held casually but ready. Your proposal is unacceptable, Zexatarek said. Humans will not be permitted to maintain independent military forces. All Earth weapons will be surrendered. Kelly kept her face carefully neutral. The small device hidden behind her ear was recording everything, mapping the room and transmitting data back to Earth through methods the aliens couldn't detect. Dr. Murphy's breakthrough with quantum entanglement had given humanity an advantage the Council didn't know about. My government asks for more time, she said, putting just the right amount of fear and respect in her voice. Convincing our population to accept these terms is difficult. Zextarek's three eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Kelly had learned indicated annoyance. You have had 6 months. The Council's patience grows thin. Perhaps another demonstration is needed to remind humans of their position. Kelly leaned forward. No, please. No more attacks. We just need to work out the details of the resource collection. My government wants to ensure we can meet your quotas without causing environmental collapse. This caught the aliens' attention. Your concern for your planet's ecology is noted, but unnecessary. Once the treaties are signed, Council environmental engineers will manage extraction. I understand, Kelly said. But if I could see these methods firsthand, it would help me convince our leaders that cooperation is best. Zexatarek considered this. Very well. You will be shown our resource processing technology. It may help you understand the inevitability of your situation. As the alien leader stood to arrange the tour, Kelly touched her necklace twice, the signal that she had secured access to the critical area of the ship. Commander Ethan Wright sat in a small, dimly lit room, staring at a screen showing Ambassador Franklin's transmission. Around him, military leaders from a dozen countries watched silently. She's done it, General Richard Powell of the United States said. We have access to their main engineering deck. And the shield frequencies? Asked the Chinese general. Ethan pointed to the data scrolling across another screen. Coming through now. Dr. Murphy's team is already programming the disruptors. An admiral spoke up. My submarines are in position. Missile systems reconfigured with the new warheads. We can hit every one of their ships simultaneously. Ethan turned to face the group. What about our people? The ones they've taken for experimentation? A grim silence fell over the room. Over the past 6 months, thousands of humans had been abducted. The Council was particularly interested in testing human resilience and adaptability. Rescue teams are on standby, the British commander said. But we must be realistic. We cannot delay the counterattack. Ethan nodded slowly. Agreed. But we don't leave our people behind. Once their shields are down, we go in and get as many out as we can. He stood and walked to a larger screen showing Earth from orbit. Red dots indicated Council ships. Has everyone memorized their assignments? Once we start, there's no going back. Around the table, heads nodded. Then let's bring our ambassador home and show these aliens why they should have left Earth alone. Dr. Alan Murphy injected a clear liquid into a vial of alien blood. Under the microscope, the reaction was immediate and dramatic. The cells burst apart. "It works," he said to no one in particular. Dr. Olivia Bennett looked up from her own microscope. "The effect is even stronger than we hoped. Their cellular structure can't handle the compound at all." Alan leaned back, rubbing his tired eyes. "It's strange. Their biology is so different from ours, yet so similar across their own species. All 7 council races share the same basic biochemistry. Like they were designed by the same creator," Olivia mused. "Or like we were designed differently on purpose," Alan replied. He picked up a tablet showing comparative DNA structures. "Every species on Earth shares certain genetic markers, but these aliens? They're built on a completely different foundation." A loud buzz interrupted their discussion. The lab door opened, and Colonel Reyes entered. "It's time," she said. "The ambassador has the shield frequencies. Fleet is in position." Alan carefully placed the vial into a secure container. "The bioweapon is ready. It won't affect humans or any Earth life, but for them..." He didn't finish the sentence. "We only use it if absolutely necessary," Samantha reminded him. "For now, we stick to the plan. Disable their ships, neutralize. Their forces show them we're not as helpless as they thought." Alan nodded, but his expression remained troubled. "I became a scientist to help people, to cure diseases, not to create them." Samantha put a hand on his shoulder. "We didn't start this fight, Alan, but we're going to finish it." In orbit, unseen by the Council's sensors, 26 Earth ships moved into position, built in secret. Using reverse-engineered alien technology, they were smaller than the massive Council vessels, but equipped with the one thing the aliens didn't expect: shields tuned to the exact frequency of Council weapons. Admiral Patrick Owens stood on the bridge of the EDF Vengeance, Earth's first true warship. Around him, a crew chosen from the best naval officers worldwide worked at stations that would have looked like science fiction 6 months ago. "All ships report ready, sir," announced Communications Officer Diane Miller. Owens took a deep breath. "Send the signal to Ambassador Franklin. Tell her she has 30 minutes to reach Extraction Point Charlie." He turned to look at the weapons officer. "Arm quantum disruptors. Target their engines and weapon systems only. We want to disable, not destroy." The young officer nodded. "Yes, sir. Disruptors armed and targeted." Owens turned his gaze to the main view screen where the unsuspecting Council ships hung against the blackness of space. "For Denver," he said quietly. The counterattack was about to begin. Ambassador Kelly Franklin moved quickly through the corridors of the alien flagship. She had memorized the route to the escape pods during her previous tours of the vessel. The small device behind her ear vibrated twice, the signal that Earth forces were in position. She had 30 minutes to get clear. 2 Geridian guards passed her in the hallway. They nodded respectfully, having grown used to the human ambassador's presence over the past 6 months. Kelly waited until they turned the corner, then ducked into a maintenance shaft. Inside her diplomatic pouch was a small cylinder Dr. Murphy had given her. "Just in case," he had said. She hoped she wouldn't need to use it. Kelly reached a junction and paused. Voices approached from the left. She pressed herself against the wall as a group of technicians hurried past, discussing something in their clicking language. Once they were gone, she continued toward the escape pod bay. Her communicator beeped softly. A text message appeared. "Package delivered. Depart now." The package, a quantum virus uploaded to the Council's communications network, would disable their ability to coordinate once the attack began. Kelly quickened her pace. On the bridge of the EDF Vengeance, Admiral Owens watched the countdown timer. "Ambassador Franklin has reached the escape pods," reported Officer Miller. "Launching now." On the main screen, a tiny blip separated from the Council flagship. "All ships, this is Admiral Owens," he said, his voice carrying to the entire Earth fleet. Execute Operation Thunderstrike. Across the globe, hidden missile silos opened. Launch facilities that the Council had dismissed as primitive nuclear deterrents revealed their true purpose. 300 missiles rose from Earth's surface, each carrying a quantum disruptor designed to Dr. Murphy's specifications. In orbit, the 26 Earth ships deactivated their stealth systems, appearing suddenly on Council sensors. Before the aliens could react, every Earth vessel fired, targeting the engines and weapon systems of the Council ships. Direct hits across the board, the weapons officer called out. Their shields are failing. Admiral Owens nodded grimly. Launch boarding teams. Priority is rescuing our people and securing their technology. In the Council flagship's command center, alarms blared as systems failed throughout the ship. High, Counselor Tarek stared in disbelief at the screens showing Earth vessels appearing from nowhere. Impossible, he hissed. Their technology is primitive. A Meldorian officer rushed to his side. High Counselor, our shields are collapsing. The humans are using our own frequencies against us. How could they? Tarek stopped as understanding dawned. The ambassador, where is she? She took an escape pod 5 minutes ago, another officer reported. Tarek's 3 eyes narrowed with rage. She tricked us. The surrender negotiations were a deception. The ship shook violently as another volley of Earth weapons struck. Lights flickered throughout the command center. Enemy boarding craft detected, a security officer called out. They're cutting through the hull in multiple locations. Tarek moved to the emergency controls. Activate the neural disruptors. Kill every human on this ship, the officer tried to comply, but the console sparked and went dark. Systems not responding. There's a virus in our network. For the first time in his long life, Tarek felt fear. Prepare my personal craft, he ordered. We must retreat and regroup with the rest of the Council fleet. On Earth, the quantum disruptor missiles reached their targets. Each Council ship in orbit was hit by multiple warheads. Unlike conventional weapons, these didn't explode. Instead, they attached to the hulls and emitted precise energy fields that matched the exact frequency of the aliens' shield technology. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Commander Wright watched the battle unfold on the main screen. Council ships were going dark one by one as their systems failed. The disruptors are working, Colonel Reyes said, unable to hide the satisfaction in her voice. Their ships are helpless. Wright nodded. And our boarding teams? Already inside. 7 vessels. They're facing resistance, but the aliens are disorganized without their communications network. Lieutenant Howard approached with a tablet. Sir, we're receiving transmissions from the abductees. Our teams have located 3 holding areas so far. Wright took the tablet, scanning the data. Get those people home, and download everything you can from their computers before they can wipe them. What about the ground forces? Reyes asked. Wright's expression hardened. That's where Dr. Murphy's other project comes in. All across Earth, in cities where Council forces had established bases, a strange sound filled the air. The quantum disruptor array, those satellite-like dishes Colonel Reyes had been overseeing, activated simultaneously. They emitted no visible energy, no heat, nothing that human senses could detect. But the effect on the aliens was immediate and devastating. In Sydney, a squad of Meldorian soldiers collapsed mid-patrol, their neural systems overloaded by the precisely tuned frequency. In Cairo, Geridian technicians fell writhing to the ground, unable to control their limbs. In Rio de Janeiro, the entire Council embassy went silent as every alien inside was incapacitated. In the scientific lab under the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Murphy watched the data stream in. It's working, he told Dr. Bennett. The neural disruptor is affecting all 7 species just as we predicted. Olivia checked her tablet. No effect on humans or Earth animals as expected. The frequency is too specific. Alan's expression remained troubled. We've just revealed that we can target their entire species with a weapon they can't defend against. They'll never leave us alone after this. They weren't going to leave us alone anyway, Olivia reminded him. They were going to strip our planet and use us as slave labor. Alan nodded slowly. I know. I just hope we haven't started something worse. In orbit, Kelly Franklin's escape pod was intercepted by an Earth ship. As she was helped aboard, the captain handed her a tablet showing the battle. It worked, the the captain said. Every council ship is disabled or captured. Kelly watched the screens in amazement. 6 months ago, humanity had barely understood alien technology. Now they were defeating it. What about the High Counselor? She asked. Still on the flagship. Our teams are closing in, but reports say he's barricaded himself in the command center with his personal guards. Kelly considered this. He won't surrender, not to humans. His species has a strong cultural aversion to admitting defeat, especially to those they consider inferior. The captain nodded. Admiral Owens is aware. He's offered terms but is prepared to take the command center by force if necessary. Kelly looked out the viewport at the disabled Council flagship. This isn't over. The Council has thousands more ships. Once they learn what happened here, they'll return with a much larger force. We'll be ready, the captain replied. And we won't be pretending to surrender next time. On the flagship, Admiral Owens stood outside the sealed command center door. Earth Marines in newly designed combat suits waited for his order. High Counselor, he called through the communication system. Your ship is under our control. Your forces on Earth have been neutralized. Surrender now and we can avoid further bloodshed. After a long pause, Zexataric's voice replied, You have made a grave error, human. The Council will not forget this. Treachery. 1,000 ships will come to punish your world. Owen sighed. We'll deal with them the same way we dealt with you. Last chance, Counselor. When no response came, he nodded to the Marine captain. Breach the door. The Marines moved forward with cutting tools. The counterattack was nearly complete, but as Dr. Murphy had feared, this was only the beginning of a much larger conflict. Earth had won the first battle. Now they needed to prepare for war. 2 weeks after Earth's counterattack, the situation had changed dramatically. The captured Council ships provided humanity with technology and information beyond their wildest hopes. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock to understand and adapt alien systems. Commander Ethan Wright stood in a conference room deep within the Rocky Mountain facility. Around the table sat military leaders, scientists, and government officials from around the world. 3 of the 7 Council species have withdrawn their forces completely, Ethan explained, pointing to a holographic display showing nearby star systems. The Viruxians, Tellarites, and Nor have officially requested peace talks. Can we trust them? Asked the Russian general. Dr. Olivia Bennett stepped forward. We believe so. Our analysis of captured data suggests these 3 species were essentially junior partners in the Council, often coerced by the dominant Meldorians. She tapped a control, changing the display to show biological data. Furthermore, we've discovered something interesting about the Council races. The Meldorians have been genetically modifying the other species for centuries, creating dependencies that keep them loyal. Murmurs of disgust spread around the table. What about the other 4 species? Asked President Ellen Hayes. Admiral Owens spoke up. The Meldorians, Juridians, Tarek, and Vexdar remain hostile. They've recalled their available ships and appear to be preparing for a full-scale assault. Our deep space sensors detect a large fleet gathering about 3 light-years from our solar system. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth had won the first battle, but a much larger war loomed. How long do we have? Asked Ethan. Best estimate is 2 months before they arrive, Owens replied. They're gathering forces from across their territory. Dr. Alan Murphy, who had been quiet until now, cleared his throat. There's something else you should know. We've been studying the star maps from their databases. There's a network of ancient wormhole gates throughout the galaxy. The Council controls them, keeping the technology from less advanced species. He pointed to a location near Proxima Centauri. There's a dormant gate in our neighboring star system. If we can activate it, we could potentially launch simultaneous attacks on multiple Meldorian worlds instead of just playing defense. President Hayes frowned. You're suggesting we take the fight to them? They've made it clear they won't leave us alone, Ethan said. Even if we defeat this next fleet, they'll just send another and another. The only way to secure Earth's safety is to demonstrate that attacking us is too costly. General Frank Martinez nodded in agreement. Strike them where they don't expect it. I like it. There's more, Dr. Bennett added. Captain Karen Boyd has been interrogating the Varuxian prisoners. They've expressed interest in helping us. Apparently, there's a resistance movement within their species that has been fighting Meldorian control for generations. Can we trust them? Someone asked. They provided details about the Meldorian home defense systems that match our stolen data, Bennett replied. And they've offered access codes to the Council's central defense network in exchange for our help in their liberation. Ethan turned to the president. We need to send a team to Proxima Centauri to activate that gate. If we can form an alliance with the Varuxian resistance, we could turn this from a desperate defense into a coordinated strike against Meldorian control. President Hayes looked around the table. I want options, all options, and I want them by tomorrow, in a secure medical facility. Captain Karen Boyd sat across from the Varuxian prisoner named Relvox. Unlike the tall, imposing Meldorians, Varuxians were smaller, with pale blue skin and large, expressive eyes. This one wore a translator device around his neck. My people have suffered under Meldorian rule for 12 generations, Relvox explained. We are treated as servants, our resources plundered, our children taken for genetic improvement. Many of us have fought in secret, but we lack the strength to overthrow them alone. Karen watched him carefully. Why should we trust you? Your ships were part of the force that attacked Earth. We had no choice, Relvox replied. The control implants they place in our leaders ensure compliance. He touched a small scar at the base of his skull. I was a minor technician beneath their notice. That's how I joined the resistance. And what exactly are you offering us? Relvox leaned forward. Access codes to their defense network, the location of their key military installations, and, most importantly, he lowered his voice, information about the first ones. Karen frowned. The first ones? The beings who built the wormhole gates millions of years ago. The Meldorians didn't create this technology. They discovered it. Just as they discovered the neural vulnerability you exploited with your disruptor weapon, there are archives hidden on the Meldorian homeworld, containing knowledge that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Karen made notes on her tablet. And in exchange for this information, help us free our worlds. End Meldorian dominance of the Council. And when this is over, allow us to form a new alliance, one based on mutual respect, not subjugation. Commander Wright stood on the bridge of the captured Council vessel, renamed the EDF Retribution. Around him, a crew of Earth's best pilots, engineers, and scientists prepared for their mission to Proxima Centauri. Pre-flight checks complete, reported Navigation Officer Julia Peters. All systems operational. Ethan nodded. Dr. Murphy, how's our special cargo? At a specialized station, Dr. Murphy monitored the containment unit holding their secret weapon, a biological agent designed to target the control implants the Meldorians use to maintain power over the other species. Stable and ready, Murphy replied. If the Varuxian intelligence is correct, this will disable the implants without harming the hosts. Ethan turned to communications. Send word to Admiral Owens. We're ready to depart. As the ship's engines powered up, Ethan looked at his crew. Most had lost friends or family in the Denver massacre. All had volunteered for this dangerous mission. We're making history today, he told them. Humanity's first interstellar mission. Let's make it count. The massive ship lifted smoothly from the hidden base in the Arizona desert, accelerating upward through the atmosphere. Within minutes, they were in space, moving past the moon at speeds that would have seemed impossible just months ago. Setting course for Proxima Centauri, Officer Peters announced. Preparing for FTL jump. The alien drive system hummed as it powered up. Outside the viewports, the stars seemed to stretch and blur. Jump in 3, 2, 1. There was a moment of disorientation. Then the ship was moving through a tunnel of warped space. Earth's first faster-than-light journey had begun. Back on Earth, Dr. Bennett led a team analyzing the data from captured Council ships. She stared at the screen, unable to believe what she was seeing. This can't be right, she murmured. Her assistant looked up. What is it? Olivia pointed to the genetic analysis of all 7 Council species. Look at these markers. Compare them to human DNA. The assistant's eyes widened. That can't be a coincidence. No, Olivia agreed. The Meldorians didn't just happen to have a different biochemistry than humans. Someone engineered it that way. Someone engineered all of us. She brought up another file, ancient star charts showing Earth's location, marked with a symbol that appeared nowhere else in the council records. They knew about us all along. They were watching us. Waiting. For what? Her assistant asked. Olivia shook her head. I don't know, but I think Commander Wright is heading into something much bigger than a simple wormhole gate. We need to warn them. She reached for the communication system, hoping they could still reach the Retribution before it arrived at Proxima Centauri. The magnificent hall of the Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the humans entered. 1 year had passed since the Denver massacre, and now representatives of Earth walked confidently into the very heart of galactic politics. President Ellen Hayes led the delegation, flanked by Commander Wright and Ambassador Franklin. Behind them came Dr. Murphy, Dr. Bennett, and a dozen other humans who had played key roles in Earth's stunning rise to power. The chamber itself was breathtaking, a vast dome with transparent walls showing the stars beyond. Representatives from over 200 species sat in tiered sections, their curious eyes following the human procession. At the center stood a circular platform where the 7 main council seats had once been arranged. Now there were 8. Kralvex, the newly elected Varuxian council leader, stepped forward to greet the humans. With Earth's help, his people had overthrown their Meldorian oppressors, and a new alliance had formed among the former council races. Welcome, representatives of Earth, Kralvex announced, his translator conveying his words to all present. Today marks a historic moment for our galaxy. President Hayes nodded respectfully. We come in peace, but we stand firm in our right to exist as equals. A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. Many had heard stories of the remarkable speed with which humans had mastered alien technology. Others had seen the recordings of Earthships emerging from the ancient wormhole gates to strike simultaneously at the heart of Meldorian power. The species that had been dismissed as primitive just 1 year ago had changed the balance of power. Throughout known space. Please address the assembly, Kralvex invited, gesturing to the central platform. President Hayes took her place, looking out at the gathered representatives. Commander Wright stood at her right, his face showing the weariness of someone who had fought hard battles but also the pride of having won them. 1 year ago, Hayes began, a delegation from the Galactic Council arrived on Earth. They did not come in friendship, but with demands for submission. When we hesitated, they killed 30,000 of our people as a demonstration of their power. She paused, letting her words sink in. What the Council didn't understand was that humans don't respond well to threats. We don't bow to bullies. We fight back. And when necessary, we fight to win. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others nodded in understanding or approval. What humanity did in response was not merely self-defense, Hayes continued. It was a message. We will not be subjugated. We will not be experimented upon. We will not be harvested or displaced or treated as anything less than equals. Ambassador Franklin stepped forward, carrying a data crystal. As a gesture of good faith, we offer this. A cure for the genetic degradation affecting the Juridian people. Consider it proof that humans can be powerful allies rather than enemies. A Juridian representative rose from his seat, clearly shocked. The genetic illness had been plaguing his species for generations, with the Meldorians promising but never delivering a cure. Hayes continued, We have learned much in the past year about the true nature of the Council, about the Meldorian program of genetic manipulation, and about the ancient beings who came before all of us. At this, the chamber grew completely still. We know that the first ones left their technology scattered throughout the galaxy. We know that the Meldorians hoarded this knowledge, using it to maintain their power, and thanks to Dr. Bennett's research, we now know something even the Meldorians didn't understand. Why humans were different. Dr. Bennett stepped forward, activating a holographic display that showed complex genetic patterns. All council species share certain genetic markers, she explained. They were designed to be compatible with each other, yet different from humans. Our research indicates this was deliberate. We were meant to develop separately. Kralvex nodded. The archives we recovered from the Meldorian homeworld confirm this. The first ones created two paths of intelligent life in this galaxy. 4E. What purpose? We still don't know. Commander Wright spoke up. What we do know is that the old council's approach failed. Domination and fear don't create stability. They create resistance. Earth proposes a new approach. President Hayes gestured to the space around them, a true galactic union. Not ruled by a select few species, but represented equally by all. Not maintained through force, but through mutual benefit and respect. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some delegates applauded. Others argued heatedly with their neighbors. Kralvex raised his hands for silence. The former council members, those who survived Earth's counterattack, have already voted to accept these terms, he announced. The alternative was to face a coalition of Earth and free worlds with technology now equal to their own. They chose wisdom over pride. He turned to President Hayes. The 8th seat on the new council belongs to Earth, if you will accept it. Hayes nodded. We accept with gratitude and determination to help build something better than what came before. As the formal proceedings continued, Officer Julia Peters found herself standing next to Lieutenant Greg Howard near the back of the human delegation. Did you ever imagine we'd end up here? She asked quietly, looking around at the vast chamber filled with aliens of every description. 1 year ago, we didn't even know for sure that intelligent aliens existed. Howard shook his head. After Denver, I just wanted revenge. I never thought about what would come after. And now we're helping reshape the entire galaxy. Julia watched as human and alien representatives mingled, already forming connections and alliances. The Meldorians still don't understand what happened, Howard said. Their leader said it again during the surrender ceremony. They can't comprehend how we advanced so quickly. They made a fundamental error, said Dr. Murphy, who had overheard their conversation. He looked tired but satisfied. They thought technology alone determines a civilization's power. They forgot about human ingenuity, adaptability, and determination. And how we unite against a common enemy, added Julia. Murphy nodded. The council expected us to panic, to fight among ourselves for scraps of alien technology or protection. Instead, we worked together in ways we never had before. Ambassador Franklin joined their small group, having finished speaking with a group of Viruxian delegates. The star charts from the ancient archives hint at thousands more worlds with intelligent life beyond council space, she told them. Worlds that might have been developing like Earth, in isolation. The Meldorians were planning to conquer them one by one. And now, asked Howard, now we have a chance to meet them as friends rather than conquerors, Franklin replied, to build something new. As they spoke, the formal ceremony concluded. President Hayes and Kralvex signed the document officially creating the new Galactic's union, replacing the old council system. Applause filled the chamber. Commander Wright watched the scene with mixed emotions. They had won. Humanity had secured its place among the stars and helped free other species from oppression. But the cost had been high. Many good people had died, both in Denver and in the war that followed. Was it worth it? Julia asked, as if reading his thoughts. Wright looked at the stars visible through the transparent dome, then at the diverse gathering of species now talking, arguing, and laughing together as equals. We didn't choose this path, he said finally, but we've made something good from it, something that might last. In the center of the chamber, human and alien representatives stood together, their differences obvious but their purpose united. The galaxy was entering a new era, one shaped in part by humanity's refusal to surrender and their determination to build a better future among the stars. Earth's ruthless counterattack had indeed left the Galactic Council stunned, but what would truly echo through history was what came after. Not just victory, but transformation.